When the Browns first signed D'Onta Foreman, I didn't think much of it. I just figured add another body to the roster, get some depth in the running back room while they wait for Chubb to get healthy. But now that I've had some time to think about it, I really believe that Foreman might wind up being the feature back in this offense for the first half of the season. If you look at the Browns roster as it stands today, they have the injured Nick Chubb, Nyheim Hines, Pierre Strong, John Kelly Jr., and of course, Jerome Ford. You might be wondering what I'm on to suggest that our homegrown back, who we just drafted a couple years ago and who stepped up to the plate after Nick Chubb's injury and had a pretty decent season, won't be the primary ball carrier while Chubb is still out. But just hear me out. There's no doubt that Jerome Ford had some electric moments last season. He's a really solid young player, but he's not a feature back. We all pulled our hair out last season in those moments where Ford was dancing behind the line of scrimmage and getting tackled for losses. And you can't expect any running back to have the vision or running ability that Nick Chubb does. However, that is a testament to his talent that he was still able to rack up over 800 yards, get 4 touchdowns, and average almost 4 yards per carry. All in all, last season felt like he was the beneficiary of being a homegrown guy and a guy who was consistent in the running back room. They didn't want to give the carries to Kareem Hunt, especially in light of all the news that Stump Mitchell dropped that he would be late to meetings and whatnot. They didn't want to reward that behavior, and Ford got the bulk of the carries. But honestly, I feel like Jerome Ford has hit his peak. Not that he couldn't have a season where he gets 1,000 yards rushing, but he's not going to get another 200 carry season with the Browns, especially with all of these guys we've added in free agency and with Nick Chubb returning this year. Essentially what that means is his trade value will never be higher than right now before we head into the draft, and I think the Browns should be looking to get a late round pick for him. And remember, once Nick Chubb is back, one of these running backs has to go. They're probably only going to carry 4. And once Ford's rookie contract is up, you're not going to re-sign him. He isn't more talented than Nyheim Hines, and he is not as decisive as a runner or as bruising of a runner as the Browns' latest running back free agent pickup, D'Onta Foreman. D'Onta Foreman is coming off a very interesting last couple of seasons. In 2022, he took over for CMC after he got traded to the 49ers and racked up 914 yards on 203 carries, averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Then last year in Chicago, he was subject to the running back by committee approach, had some chances after some injuries to the rookie running back in Khalil Herbert, and had some big moments, had a 3-touchdown day against the Raiders, but despite this success, he wound up getting an injury after having his moment, and he never really won the starting job back. This led to him getting some healthy scratches, and ultimately he departed from Chicago. And although you might look at that as an indictment, we should be looking at it as a good opportunity. He doesn't have a ton of miles on him. He's a 27-year-old back. He's big-bodied, and he's coming off of a 74 overall PFF grade last year. And what I like the most about D'Onta Foreman, he has not played with an offensive line as good as Cleveland's throughout his career. Yet, he is a decisive runner who always pushes forward for positive yardage. When the Browns' offensive line started getting banged up last year, you would really start to see Jerome Ford dancing behind the line of scrimmage, completely missing openings in the line, and overall just spending too much time going east to west. This really hurt Cleveland in early down situations. Foreman, on the other hand, always looking north. He knew that he didn't have the luxury of having road graders in front of him. So what he lacked in a wiggle and elusiveness side to side, he made up for by running through your face mask. And ultimately what this equates to is gaining an extra yard or 2 rather than losing 2 or 3. And this opens up the playbook on 2nd down and 3rd down. Additionally, his size at 6 foot, 235 pounds makes it so he falls forward after contact. And those extra inches matter throughout the course of a game. Why I really like D'Onta Foreman over Jerome Ford as the feature back in 2024, until Nick Chubb is back of course, is that the Browns don't need a guy to make something out of nothing. They need someone who can play within the scheme and work for positive yardage regardless of what's in front of them. Someone who can push the pile on obvious rundowns even when he's met with a stone wall. And I believe that Foreman is the guy who can do that until Chubb returns. There are also other reasons when looking in between the lines signs why I feel that Foreman will be the feature back and that Ford could be traded. First of all, Foreman doesn't play special teams. So why would you bring in a situational back who doesn't play specials? It's kind of hard to imagine signing a guy just to carry the ball on 3rd and short. Additionally, Foreman is not a great pass blocking back. So realistically, if he's not a great pass blocker and he's not a great passing threat, he's probably not going to be a 3rd and medium and 3rd and long back when you have to send him to pick up pressure against the blitz. Of course, this is all reading between the lines and I could be completely off, but it sounds like they've signed a guy who is simply good at carrying the football to carry the football on early downs and keep the Browns ahead of the chains. Does that mean for certain that Ford will be traded? No, but like I said previously, I don't think that his trade value will ever be higher than it is right now. In a year's time, especially once Chubb is back and once they've utilized guys like Nyheim Hines way more in the system and D'Onta Foreman, you're not going to be able to get anything for him. But right now, before the draft, you might be able to get a late round pick purely based off of what he did in 2023. It is still fresh in the minds of everyone in the front offices of the NFL, and he's only 24 years old, still on a cheap rookie contract. And as a counter argument, you might be saying, well, Joe Mixon got traded for a 7th, so we're not going to get anything for Ford. But you have to understand that Mixon was owed a lot more money than Jerome Ford is. Mixon had just signed an $11.5 million contract restructure with the Bengals. And on top of that, the Bengals had no leverage because they knew they had to re-sign Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So that's where the 7th round value comes from. Ford is 24, coming off of his best year, and only has a base salary of $985,000. After having some time to think about the D'Onta Foreman signing, I really like it. And I've had so much time to think about it because if you've been watching the channel over the past year, I am clearly in a new space and I have moved, and that's why there was no video last week, so I thank you for your patience. And a new house means a new studio, and that will be coming soon, I promise. This won't be the norm for much longer. And if you want to continue to support the page, I have 2 requests for you. First, follow the new Instagram page at Optimistic Fan Club. This is going to be the hub for a lot of cool NFL stuff. It'll be different than what you see here, but we'll put clips out and whatnot. I don't do sponsors in these videos currently because I don't want to bog down the flow and inundate you people who are supporting the infancy stage of this channel with ads. But for the time being, you can support the page by liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell for new videos, following that Instagram page, and buying some stickers. We still have stickers from last season up, and those are going to be collector's items one day because this channel is going to grow from all the support that you people have been giving. So I thank you guys so much for doing that, for supporting the page, for being patient last week without the video. We got a ton of great stuff coming. So let me know what you guys think of the D'Onta Foreman signing, what you think of potentially trading Jerome Ford, and let's get ready for season 2 of the Optimistic Fan Club. Thank you guys so much. See you in the next one.